5 best stocks, or should I call them shares, to buy this November. November is starting tomorrow. I'm making this video on 31st of October 2025. So I'm here to share with you 5 stocks that, according to my own research as Good Joseph, I find them appropriate and right for you to be able to buy. Remember, this is not a financial advice. This is just a guy on YouTube with a camera making videos as far as the investments are concerned. Always do your research. Make sure that you verify, justify, if possible, even contact your financial advisor or even a stockbroker so that you can get the information. But anyway, let me just go ahead and share this information with you. All right, take your pen and paper. And after watching this video, the 5 companies I will share with you, again, as a student or as a good student, go ahead and do your own research, justify what I'm saying. And by the way, you have the right to contradict me, or you can object what I'm saying on the comment section. Let us make this one a discussion where everyone has a view and you can express yourself. Let's get on the business. And by the way, in case you're watching me for the first time, this is Good Joseph. I make videos as far as the investments are concerned. I report financial news, anything that you can tap and get something of it. I usually come here to share with you. Make sure that you subscribe, leave a comment on the comment section, and of course, make sure that you hit the like. Let's go on the business, okay? Now, the first stock that I would definitely advise, or I would say they are good companies to buy on this November, is NSE. What? I know some of you be like, what? Is that a company? Like, what do you mean NSE, Joseph? Yeah, you can buy NSE stocks. Let me explain. I know we all know that companies such as Equity, whatever, they are listed there. But NSE, you know it as a trading platform. That is Nairobi Securities Exchange. So you can buy its shares. It being a company or an institution where all the companies trade there, it has actually listed itself there. So it's called self-listing. So it is listed there also as a company. You know, NSE, Nairobi Securities Exchange, it's a company that regulates, or where all other companies or PLCs trade itself. So NSE, it's also a PLC listed under its own list. So you can buy that. Why am I saying that? If you are smart and if you are wise, you will know something. What am I about to say? The moment you say the market becoming vibrant, people are buying and selling, people are getting in, getting out, that means something is doing what? This company is likely also to make what? And I'm really waiting for the financial records, or the financial, how can I say, reporting when it comes to the next year, that is on 2026 on June. I would like to know what NSE will make. Last year, how much they made? Although that's a bit, it's a big of, I think last year they made around 511 million. Kenya shilling. That's an equivalent of like $5 million. Let me just read some here very quick. For the half of the year, actually not at the end of the year, half of the year ended 30th June of 2025, NSE PLC reported a total income of 511.6 million. Transaction levies on equities were also 139. You know what? Mostly this company makes money, as a PLC, makes money under the transaction levies. They also do sell what we call the data services, interest income. They also make some money in variety of areas. So this company, or people buying and selling shares more actively, you're supposed to be also smart, be like, okay, so it's also a company that I can buy itself because more activities are being shown there. So NSE, personally, I bought it at 4 shillings. At 4 shillings. I bought it at 4 shillings. Right now, as you speak, it's at 16. As of today, it's at 16 shillings. I mean, if I was to sell my shares, do you know how much I've made? Good cash, all right? From all the way from 4 to 16, that's a difference of 12. Do you know what that means? It simply means whatever I invested there multiplied by 4. If I invested 100K, now I'm worth 400K, in simple words. Yeah. So anyway, for me, I didn't buy like yesterday. I buy a little bit back then, like talk of 2-ish years ago, or 1.5 something years ago. I bought it at 4. Right now we are at 16 shillings. Anyway, it's a company that I would definitely recommend. And I hope I've explained myself in a better way. I've said it's a company listed there, self-listing. It's an NSE PLC listed under the NSE. I think that makes sense. And right now, as we speak, is around 16-ish there. But again, you can confirm at all the time so that you can get the correct figures out there. Remember, I'm more perfect, can make some mistake here and there. All right. Now, yeah, so you can buy that company out there. The next company that I would definitely recommend that one can buy on this November, it's a company called KCB. Its shares right now is around 61 shillings. Do you know these shares came all the way from 35? And we are talking about less than 6 months. These shares have come all the way from 35 shillings. Now we are at 61. We are about to double the money that we had invested there. So KCB, it's one of, but if you ask me, I would say KCB is one of the, actually it's not even one of the, it's a blue chip. It's one of the best or big listed companies there. It depends. You can say it's the second biggest bank in Kenya, or you can say it's the first biggest bank in Kenya, depending on what you're referring to. In terms of the asset, it is the biggest. In terms of the turnover, the Equity Bank, it's the biggest when it comes to such. So KCB Bank, I can see doing amazing, doing great. It's a great bank. Although I didn't want to break this news, but there are some news going around. The KCB Bank is about to get inroads into the Ethiopian market. They're about to acquire some of the biggest bank in Ethiopia. And of course, you know, Ethiopia is the second populated country in Africa after Nigeria, with, again, you can verify these figures, with over 120 something million population. That means if this company dares get infiltrates there, it can actually make a lot of profits. And again, knowing that KCB, again, it's one of the giants in Kenya, and it has actually, I think it has presence in like 6 countries in Africa. KCB, it having inroads into the Ethiopia, that will mean great good things for the investors, because again, okay, at the beginning, we may not realize good dividends being shared, because when companies expand, they tend to, constrict the shares or the dividends that they are sharing so that they can expand. Because also them acquiring those companies, it means they need money, obviously. I mean, it's no brainer. If you're having a business and you made a profit, instead of going for the vacations, you just buy more stock so that you can, yeah, you may realize less of the what? Less of the dividends, maybe probably. Again, this information is still not, they have not done that. You know, Ethiopia has closed the doors for the foreign banks to actually do the business there. The government was controlling almost everything, but now they're opening, but there's still some few regulations here and there. Anyway, that's why I can say, hey, I can see a good future with KCB Bank at that particular rate. Probably gonna go all the way bigger than that. So KCB, it is one of the banks that I would definitely recommend. Okay, now the other one I would recommend as far as the shares are concerned is the Equity Bank or Equity Group. Okay, actually we call it Equity Group, not Equity Bank. Even KCB is called. But then when we say you buy KCB, it's not necessarily KCB Bank. You know, when people buy shares here, they think that they're buying the shares of the KCB Bank. No, it's KCB Holding Group. It's the entire thing. It can be the KCB normal bank. Let me not over-explain. That's the point. So equity right now as we speak is around, I think, 64. Let me check. I always love to verify those figures, because we usually have some students here who will be like, no, you could have said 64 point something. 64.75, yeah? This one was 61.25, 64.75. Equity, this, I remember equity was at around 40 when the KCB was around 35-ish there. It has gone all the way by 24 shillings, 0.75. That's a big one. So equity, it is the biggest bank in Kenya in terms of the turnover and something like that. I think it was the first bank in Kenya to turn over a trillion, a trillion something. Oh, again, it's a giant. Let me just say that. These two banks, these are the giants. These are the equivalents of the Bank of America, or whichever that bank that you have in your country. For example, if you come from South Africa, it's kind of an equivalent of the Standard Bank. But obviously, Standard Bank is the biggest bank in Africa. So yes, so Equity Bank or Equity Holding per se, it is a good company that you can actually buy. And of course, these are two giants when it comes to the banking sector and many other activities, not only banking services that they have. All right, so it's a company that I would definitely tell you, hey, if you can afford, if you can have the cash, you can go ahead and buy those shares, accumulate them, buy them, store them, keep them, have them. All right, so you can actually earn in two ways. The dividends, these companies are known to pay very well when it comes to the dividends. Okay, this one you precisely mostly go there for the sake of what? For the sake of what we call the capital gain, okay, or the capital appreciation. But the equity and the KCB, these ones are largely the dividend-based company. But of course, they have some elements of the growth. For instance, if you can see, it came all the way from 35 to 61, from 40 to 64, simply tells you that you can actually make something out of it. So those are the stock, our number 3. Number 4, let's go to the stock number 4, Safaricom. Almost forgot Safaricom. This is a communication company. It is the biggest listed company under the Nairobi Securities Exchange with a market turnover exceeding $1 trillion. So, I mean, you can't talk about, it's like you start buying, say, index fund and NSE and index fund in America, and you leave behind the S&P 500. You remember, if you talk to any stock investor in the US, they always talk about S&P 500, S&P 500. This is like our equivalent. Though it's not an index, but it's a company, but it's the single most biggest company listed under the Nairobi Securities Exchange called Safaricom. And right now, the shares are trading at around 29 point something. You know, you can always verify that figure, depends on when you watch this video. So it's a company that definitely you can buy shares. Why? By the way, for your information, in less than 8 months, this shares has actually come from 11 shilling all the way to 29 shilling. Sure, we can see some sort of a stagnation around that particular price, but I remember these shares in like a week-ish or 2-week-ish was around 26. Now it has gone all the way to 29. I mean, it's still a company that I can tell you has a future. Sure, Safaricom does not have a good news when it comes to paying off good dividends, because they usually pay their dividends at around 1.55 shilling, and anyway, but dividends per share. But anyway, it is what it is, but it's a good company that I would definitely recommend one to buy if you're interested in getting into the stock market. Are we together? Now, lastly but not the least, of course, let me check it out. I seem to have forgotten that. Anyway, by the way, hope you're getting value out of this video. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure that you leave a comment on the comment section. Please also give me your list, which, if you are a stock investor, tell me, hey, what have you verified and what have you done the research and find out that, hey, you can buy that. Let us discuss. Let's be beneficial to each other. Lastly is the EABL. EABL. Right? The shares are trading at around 230 shilling, 0.00, around there, okay? EABL means East African Breweries. Is the biggest company in Kenya that actually brews alcohol beverages and something like that. Again, I stand corrected. But as far as I know, it is the single most biggest company in Eastern and Central Africa when it comes to, alcohol beverages and what have you. Anyway, so those are the 5. Why am I even saying that this is a good company to buy? As we speak right now, they have actually listed, they have a corporate bond that they are fetching for 11 billion Kenyan shilling, and you can invest there with as little as 10,000. Anyway, that video is coming. All right, so stay put. This is Good Joseph. As always, make sure that you hit the like button. If you need my services, that is my number. Shoot me a text or a call. I'll be able to, I'm actually not a call, text me on WhatsApp. I'll be able to serve you there. See you in the next one.